What is drama? So, drama comes from the Greek word for action, and it's written to be performed by actors and watched by an audience. And if we look at drama here, we can look at the fact that it consists of two types of writing. It includes the dialogue that the characters speak, and it also includes something very special called the stage directions, which tell the actors how to move and speak, and it also describes the sets and the props. Some authors give more stage directions than others, and so if there are less stage directions, then the director of the play has more choice about what to include and how. It also can be presented two ways. It can be presented as literature, the text of the play itself, and so you're going to be expected to actually read the play that is assigned, but it is really meant to be a performance in the theater. And if you have never been to a play, you have the option of viewing one and writing some notes and submitting it for extra credit, because I think it's really important that you do so. There are two types of drama. There's tragedy and comedy. Tragedy shows the downfall or death of a tragic hero or main character. In ancient Greek plays, the hero was a good person brought down by a tragic flaw of some sort or defect in the character. In modern plays, the hero can be a normal person destroyed by an evil in society. It also emphasizes human greatness. In speaking about a comedy, it often shows a conflict between some opposites, opposite age groups, genders, or personality types. In typical comedies, they involved confusion, jokes, and often a happy ending. And it stresses human weaknesses, which we all have. A drama or a play is a form of storytelling in which the actors make the characters dialogue and action. So they make the characters, so they will give the characters voice, okay? And they also give the characters action. So they move around, they use props, etc. So every performance of a play is different, even if the same actors perform the same play many times. What I like about this is that you can go see a play more than one time. And if you pay attention, you can notice differences. And especially if they're different actors, but also just from day to day, just like with teaching. Some days I have more energy, some days I have less, I might have more enthusiasm, etc. And so that's how it is with plays. And a lot of actors who are used to performing in television and movies, they love to do live plays because they have a live audience and they're able to do it a number of different times and they're able to feed off the energy of the audience. So just like I was talking about, performances are actually influenced by the audience. And so to be part of an audience is different than reading the play alone. The response of the audience will also affect our own response. If people are loud, if they cheer, if they say anything, etc. So for example, we laugh louder when the rest of the audience is laughing as well. How is a play written? The author of the play is called a playwright. Everything a playwright is meant to appear on stage, so everything they write is meant to appear on stage. A play is written in form called a script, and the playwright writes the dialogue, or what the characters say to each other in conversation, as well as the stage directions, as we talked about, which indicate how the play is to be performed. In terms of dialogue, it's what the characters say, and it's actually used to reveal their personalities, their character traits. And the name of the character who speaks is listed usually in bold at the start of a line, followed by a colon. So maybe a character is named Stella, And so it would read Stella and colon. Every time the speaker changes, a new line is started. Dialogue is necessary in order to develop conflict and advance the plot. Let's talk a little bit about staging in a play. Drama is more than just words on the page. The production of a play involves directing the way the characters move, what they wear, the lighting, and the scenery. Staging is the practice of putting on the play. Some of the details of staging may be included in the stage directions themselves. However, the director and producer take what the playwright has described and then bring it to life with their own ideas. So there's choice and creativity. So it does matter who directs a play. Let's move on to sets here. Sets are the scenery, backdrops, and furniture that create the setting. And a production may have different sets for different scenes. For example, some scenes may take place outside in the street, while others may take place in a character's living room. Some scenes may take place during the day, and others may take place at night. In terms of props, props are things like books, telephones, dishes, other items that actors use on stage during the performance to support the action. And a lot of theaters have rooms that they have with all sorts of props so that various plays can choose different props. And so some might be used over and over. Some may be more special and are rented just for particular production. And then some plays go on for years and years and years, and they may have their own props that eventually they save and maybe put in a museum of some sort. Stage directions. So again, we talked about stage directions. They're notes. They're usually written in italics, and they're enclosed in parentheses or brackets. And they describe describe where and when a scene takes place, which is the setting. And it also showcases how the characters should say their lines, how the characters should move on stage, and they might explain the character's mood or how the character is feeling. And stage directions also describe sets, costumes, props, etc. And they may even use certain terms to describe the stage. And we'll talk about that in the next slide, or the slide after this one. So let's take a look at the script. So as a reader of a play, we want you to mark or annotate the text. But it's a good idea to start by previewing the text features, and see how many acts it has, how many scenes it has, who the characters are, etc. Sometimes there's lots of characters, sometimes there's very few. If you're able to read aloud the dialogue using stage directions to understand the characters' attitudes, emotions, and personalities, that's a good thing. Read the stage directions and imagine how the scenes might be enacted. And then, as with everything else, again, we want you to annotate. So here is the slide that I wanted to talk to you about. These are directions. So if the audience is sitting here and is looking this way, down stage left, center and right, and then we move up to the upstage right, center and left. And so if you are actors or directors, etc., these are really important, and characters who may look like they're moving randomly often are not, because a stage, even if it's a larger stage, is still a small little microcosm ecosystem of the setting. And so you need to be careful so you don't knock into somebody, because that might be easy to do. Dramatization. So sometimes a play is something that comes from a book. So I was able to watch To Kill a Mockingbird on Broadway, second row back with Jeff Daniels. Super memorable. It's one of those things I'll remember forever. But that was not a play that was written on its own. It was actually once a novel. And but it also could be a short story, a folk tale, a biography, or some other type of writing. And then some plays are actually completely new works. Others are adapted. So we have, either brand new or they're adapted. And a playwright takes scenes and characters and action from something that's already there and turns them into a play and dramatizes them. How is a play divided? It's largely divided up into parts or acts, and the number of acts in a production can range from 1 to 5, depending on how the writer structures the outline of the story. The length of time for an act to be performed can range from 30 to 90 minutes. So, but those are things to think about as you are, watching and writing, etc. Acts may be further divided into scenes. In classical theater, each regrouping between entrances and exits of actors is a scene, while today it's described as a quick change of setting. And one thing that's important to remember is that people produce the plays, so somebody writes a play, they're the playwright, but there are people who need to produce the play. And so the actors and actresses who perform the play are known as the cast. The people who build the sets, manage the light, or work backstage, they're called the crew. Play production is a collaborative effort, and it takes so many different people. And this is how a play can differ from another literary text in terms of content.